Here is your latest African news.
Following that engagement which you all witnessed, we retired to what I think they call the cabinet room. We were able then to have really good in-depth exchanges with President Trump and his other officials. The discussions revolved, of course, around golf, but they also revolved around issues of trade and investment. And we were able to, in discussing all that, want to confirm that there will continue to be engagement between South Africa and the United States officials, particularly the trade and industry level, to deal with the package of issues that we had tabled that have to do with trade and investment. So I was rather pleased that there's a firm agreement and undertaking that we are going to continue engaging. So there's no disengagement. For us, that was one of the key outcomes that we had wanted. Our objective in coming here was to reset, and it turned out that yes, President Trump's concern is about the safety of people in South Africa, much as he zeroed it down to, say, white farmers. We kept saying there is a security problem, and we're not running away from that. There's criminality, and we even sought to deal with it from its genesis. We also discussed the G20, and we stressed that the G20, having been formed by the United States, of course, together with other countries, it's important that the United States should continue playing a key role in the G20, more particularly because I want to hand over the presidency of the G20 to President Trump in November. And I said, he needs to be there. I don't want to hand over the presidency of the G20 to an empty chair. I want to hand it over to him sitting in that chair in November. And he is going to give serious consideration to it. In fact, I expect him to be coming to South Africa, and he, having realized the important role that the United States continues to play in international or multilateral formations or organizations like the G7 and the G20, and he having said, of course, the G7 would be much more impactful with the participation of the United States, as the G20 would be more impactful on global matters with the participation of the largest economy in the world. So my takeaway from that is that G20 participation by the United States is going to be happening. So we're particularly pleased with that. So all in all, I do believe that our visit here has been a great success. We've been able to achieve what we set out to achieve re-engagement with the US. So all in all, I'm rather pleased. I go back tonight having a sense that we have done well. I know that many South Africans were filled with a great deal of concern and fear that we will have a Z moment and all that. That did not ensue. And I know that you yourselves as the media, you wanted to see drama and something really big happening. And I'm sorry that we disappointed you somewhat when it comes to that. And I'm rather glad that they allowed you to come into the Oval Office. And that in itself was good. And they gave us a number of mementos. And I was given a book. So I gave him a book, a golf book, and he gave me a book as well. So that is good. lots of reading indeed in the future. We found that our interests do coincide in as far as peace building and peacemaking is concerned. And we did compliment President Trump in being very forward in advocating for peace in our region between Rwanda and the DRC, and also Russia and Ukraine. And we outlined precisely what our involvement has been over the years. Speaks to both. We were condemned at an early stage, but I think much later people realized that the role that we play is a constructive role, because we have been able to deal with intricate issues that involve the two countries, about the children and prisoners of war. And he appreciated that, and he recognized the role that we play. And even as President Zelensky came to South Africa, he says he wanted to know where Zelensky was, and he heard that, oh, he's in South Africa. And before then, I had had a telephone visiting President Ramaphosa. So the role that we play in peace-building missions and processes around the world is recognized and is known, and it was also confirmed today. The issue that he kept raising, or he raised prominently, is the issue of genocide. And when he was asked by one of you, and thank God one of you asked, whether he was convinced that there was genocide, he says, no, he's not convinced. Much as he flighted the video and all those press clippings. And in the end, I mean, I do believe that there's doubt and disbelief in his head about all this. And I think today's meeting, and particularly when he heard from the other members of the delegation, from Minister Steenhuisen to even Johan Rupert and President of COSATU, Losi, and all that, they spoke from their own experiences and what they know, and that in many ways will have deposited in his head as a process. And the fact that he and I have agreed that we're going to meet again, and we will meet at the G20. By meeting again, I'm not saying immediate, but we have said we will meet again, and of course, one of the moments that we will is going to be at the G20. So that is a process, may I add, is really sort of registered in his head. The issue of whether what he terms as genocide can be equated to the struggle. And of course it cannot, because there is just no genocide in South Africa. And of course it is an issue of how one looks at it. As they say sometimes, the shape of the mountain depends on which point or which direction you are looking at it. He's a golfer, he's an avid golfer, and he speaks about golf quite a lot, and he respects the South African icons. And he even asked, what is it about South Africa that produces such great golfers? And I said, it's the water that we drink, and I guess much more. The way it lands is the way it lands. But in the end, I do not believe that it dilutes or detracts from the import of our message today. We were able to present South Africa, even within the challenges and controversies that have been spread around our country, but we were able in a very unified way to present the South Africa that we have, with all its challenges, with all its problems. That's what we did. Annika asked whether the ICJ issue came up during the lunch talk. No, it didn't come up. And we got an impression that President Trump's approach to the ICJ is that, let the process unfold, but at the same time to focus on peace building in the Middle East precisely what we complimented him on. We said, we compliment you for the efforts that you're making to build peace, because we as South Africa also want to be part of that process. And we want to be part of that process even between Israel and Palestine, to be able to participate in a peace-building process, so that in the end there should be peace between Israel and its neighboring countries, particularly Palestine. So the ICJ issue did not arise during the lunch. Elon Musk was part of the lunch, and we didn't really, focus on the discussions in relation to Tesla. The only issue he raised is that he'd like his Tesla cars to be in South Africa. He wants to import them, and of course there are tariffs, and the tariff discussion becomes part of what we are going to discuss between the DTIC as well as the Commerce Department. So all that is going to be part of a big discussion that will take place. The issue of critical minerals is also going to be discussed. We did make it clear to the United States that we have up to 9 critical minerals that they need in this country, and some of them we are now already exporting to them, so they are going to be part of the discussions we want to have. But we want to cooperate with them. But what did arise was also an interesting point, which will be taken forward, of how we mine and process minerals in South Africa, and then they can then take the processing further when they come to the United States. So how you work that equation is some of what will be discussed. But the important thing here is that there is greater acceptance, I would say globally, in having processing of minerals closer to source. That is being accepted more and more.
Let us know in the comments below if you found this video informative. Please show your support by liking and sharing this video for the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. And always remember, Africa is watching.